Did you know that Satan also has a mark? He also has a seal. America is headed to greatness. Make America great again. But it seems that it is headed to the revival of sun worship. And we see from history that there are stages of sun worship. I did not believe it at first, but truly there's a hidden prophetic message in the symbolism which is found in the dollar bill. Why is there a sun, an eagle, a pyramid in the dollar bill? What does Jesus mean by beginning of sorrows? This is TIBP Live. Elder Jericho here. Greetings to all of our patrons and loving TIBP members. Sun worships begins at the Tower of Babel, the birth of paganism. You know the story. After the flood, and after Noah and his sons, and the wives went forth from the yard, there was a man begotten by his grandson Cush, whose name was Nimrod. The name Nimrod means rebellion. He was actually the chief architect of the Tower of Babel, Satan's monument of human pride. Tradition says that Nimrod's wife was also his mother. Semiramis became pregnant after engaging in an adulterous affair while married to Nimrod. Semiramis made the most audacious claim that when Nimrod died, he has been resurrected as the god of the sun. Nimrod's sun rays inseminate Semiramis with a child, and the child's name was Tammuz. You remember, dear friends, that the prophet Ezekiel mentions about the woman worshiping, weeping for Tammuz. Then he brought me to the entrance of the north gate of the house of the Lord, and I saw women sitting there mourning the god Tammuz. The worship of the sun scattered throughout the Babylonian Empire. The second phase, sun worship in Christianity. Sun worship in Christianity on Mark 7:3-1 AD. On this day, Constantine decreed the day of the sun as the day of rest. Constantine decreed that the Dies Solis, or the day of the sun, should be observed as the universal day of rest. Constantine chose Sunday to be the day for Christian worship, as it is already enjoyed special status in the Roman week, named after the pagan god Invictus. He gave the first Sunday law in 321 AD, which was civil, but then in Constantinople in 381, it became religious. The third stage, dear friends, is the Antichrist sun worship. Revelation 13 says, the dragon, which is in Daniel, the Roman kingdom, Rome, gave him the Antichrist beast, the papacy, his power and his seat, which is the capital city and great authority. Professor LaBianca says, to the succession of the Caesars came to the succession of the pontiffs in Rome. When Constantine left, he gave his seat to the pontiff, the Pope of Rome. Rome claims Sunday is her creation and her sun bursts everywhere. And then Protestantism embraced this day of worship from Rome. They also honor Sunday because of the resurrection, they say. This was transferred via the Puritans from Europe to the United States. It was strictly enforced in colonial America with blue laws. They did exactly what they learned from the Roman Catholic Church in Europe. Thus, the pagan Sunday has been transmitted in unbroken succession from Babylon to end-time Babylon. Interesting that Rome was called Babylon in 1 Peter 5:13. Dear friends, will you reject or accept the Sunday seal? Or would you like the seal of God? The fourth stage, dear friends, sun worship as a legislative law. Have you ever noticed in the $1 bill, the symbol, it brings back to the roots of the history of the United States, and surprisingly a prophetic pattern of worship in the final days. In the $1 bill, you see an eagle facing right with the golden wreath, 13 arrows in its talons, a sunburst breaking through the clouds above its head, representing the sun god Mitra. In a large number of lands, the sun is associated not so much with independence, but with the promises it brings in the dawn of a day. Witness Smith, Flags, page 314. In other words, the rising of the sun represents the dawn of a new era of prosperity and peace for the newborn nation. Great Controversy says, at the end, says the imposition of the day of the sun will be understood as the secret to return to the peace and prosperity that the United States once enjoyed when it was founded. This is the banner or flag of the Roman Empire. Imperial banner used by the Holy Roman Empire, as they call it, the neoclassical spirit of America at the end of the 18th century. Look to the Asian Roman Republic for many symbols. So America will go back and push the day of the sun. Will Rome push the Laudato Si back closer to legislation, to the mandatory day of worship for the sake of saving the environment? Yes. On the reverse side, it's like a pyramid, and above it, the all-seeing eye of providence with sun rays bursting from it. The unfinished pyramid has 13 strata, a definite occult number. The all-eye providence is a Masonic symbol who claim to go back to the Masons of Solomon's Temple of Lucifer, according to them, the great architect of the universe. The inscriptions are interesting. All three of them are in Latin. Novus Ordo Seclorum, meaning New World Order of the Ages. Latin was the language of the ancient Rome. The year 1776 is the Roman numerals at the base of the pyramid. Matthew 24 makes it clear that there is a double application. So if in Rome we have an eagle in the sun as the abomination that led to desolation, we would expect at the end, because the prophecy demands it, the United States will repudiate its constitution and go back to enforcing Sunday by law, as happened in the colonial period. In the United States, will mandate to enforce Sunday law. From the Roman Catholic Church, they will make an image of the beast and will enforce the mark of the beast. The Sunday law will be sealed with the Great Seal of the United States, a Roman symbol. But all of these are just the beginning of birth pains, Jesus says. Christ compares these natural disasters and persecutions to a mother in labor, and the rapidity and the severity will be great. Jesus saying, the worst is yet to come, but Jesus is coming soon. A great hope in life. God's people will be blamed for what is happening. Verses 6 to 8, Matthew 24. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. But dear friends, will you accept or reject the Sunday seal? Or would you like to accept the seal of the Heavenly Father? The mark of the beast is the opposite of the seal of God. The beast's mark is his claim to ecclesiastical power and authority. In order to understand the mark of the beast, we must also need to completely understand God's seal. These two are the opposite of one another. If you have one, you cannot have the other. The issue then for the believers should be about ensuring that he or she does have the seal. The seal of God should be the primary focus, not the mark of the beast. In obtaining the seal, one is guaranteed that he or she cannot receive the mark of the beast. What is a seal? A seal authenticates a document. Every official document has the official seal. A law with no seal is not binding. Every lawgiver also has his or her official seal. The name of the lawgiver, his title or position, his territory. Every seal has those three things. For example, the presidential seal of the United States contains three elements: name, office, and territory. Every law must have an official seal. Since God has a seal, what is God's position that gives him authority over the whole world? He's the creator. All through the Bible, God points us to this fact as the reason why he has authority. Here's an example. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things. Why is God worthy of our worship? Answer: because he created everything. What sign did he set up to remind us that he is our creator? We'll read the answer from Genesis 2 verse 1 to 3. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. So the Sabbath, the seventh day of the week, is a memorial of creation. The Sabbath is a memorial in time. It has nothing to do with the Jew. Rather, it is to remind us that God has authority in the world as creator. Is God's seal connected with his legal document, his law? The answer is yes. God's seal is in the heart of his law. It has three elements. Which one of the 10 commandments contains God's seal? Answer: the fourth commandment. What was the name of the lawgiver? The Lord. What is God's position? He's the creator. He made everything. And what was his territory? Heaven and earth. There you have the seal of God. The seventh-day Sabbath of the fourth commandment stands out as unique in the 10 commandments as the one commandment that identifies God as creator, deliverer, and lawgiver. Satan knows well the power and the purpose of the Sabbath, and he has sought tirelessly to obscure it and to cause it to be forgotten. Yet God's end-time people will not forget it. They will honor it and keep it as a memorial of creation. I also gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between them and me, that they might know that I am the Lord who sanctifies them. The Sabbath is a sign that it is God who sanctifies us. Our own works doesn't make us holy. It cannot save us. Therefore, the Sabbath is a sign of trusting totally in Jesus Christ's righteousness and not of our own. It is high time for us to surrender our lives to Christ. Let our faith be bigger than our fears in the final days. What seal will you take? The seal of God or the Sunday seal, the mark of the beast? Kindly type in the comment section, I reject the Sunday seal. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you for supporting this ministry, and may we continue to preach to found in Bible prophecy.